Hello, welcome to Shad Life. This is vlog episode 4. Yes, I am doing another vlog, and here are the topics I'm going to talk about. Again, just like before, I'm going to have them in the timeline below, so if you want to watch through the whole video, great. If you want to go right to the topic you're interested in, then you can click on the little timeline and go right there and listen to that segment. First one is going to be about my winter build project. That I'm super stoked about. Yes. And the next thing, I'm going to talk about a new category that I'm going to create about trail etiquette. Part of that is going to be about trail sustainability too. So it might be etiquette and sustainability. I'll figure that out when I get there. The next category is it's almost fat bike season. So just a brief talk about that and kind of what my plans are for the winter. And I'm going to go right into the next thing about clothing for the winter time and kind of what I wear. But I'm going to do a more detailed video at some point on that. And then the last topic, this one's really important to me. I'm really passionate about it, and it's why I do skills tips or riding tips, is being safe on the trail. I just still see so many people getting hurt on the trail. And if you don't know about a YouTuber, her name's like Van Yuka or something, Girl Van Yuka, something like that. She just recently put a video up of her major crash that could have hurt her a lot worse than she got hurt. So we'll talk about that. And then a short little blurb about the Monday night rides I'm doing at Theater Worth. So if you're local, you want to check that video out or that segment out, and so on and so forth. So let's get into the first topic here. So you might remember this frame. Earlier in the year, I was able to get a titanium Esker Hayduke frame, and so I swapped all my parts over. So now I have this steel Esker Hayduke frame remaining. Steel as in 4130 chromoly. I love the geometry of these frames, so I'm keeping this frame, and this is going to be my winter project bike. I am going to single speed this bad boy, and my idea is I also want to do a mullet build. 29er front wheel, 27.5 rear wheel, single speed it, and see how I like it. The reason why I decided to do this in a mullet build is if you saw a poll I recently did, I asked if I should do a mullet version of my Surly low side. Well, after thinking about it, I really like how the Surly low side handles, and I have this frame laying around. So why not do it with this? Leave my Surly low side alone. Everybody loves the low side. I love how that bike rides. Why mess with it? So I'm going to do a mullet build on here, single speed to start, and then this can become my experimental frame. I can maybe throw different gears on here. I'm thinking box 9 or whatever, things like that. But initially, single speed mullet build. Let's talk about some of the parts that I want to put on this build that I'm already thinking. Okay, so I'm thinking of going with the same model fork that came on my Esker Hayduke, but in a 29er version and 120 millimeter travel. And I like the red. That's pretty cool. So I could kind of stick with the red and yellow theme. I even had that a little before. Red and yellow just look really cool together. So this is what I'm thinking. I haven't finalized any of these decisions, but this would be the fork. And then for a affordable wheel set, and speaking of affordability, this one's $519, and it's a really good fork. It's got Fox internals. It's stiff. For the money, it's probably the best fork out there, to be honest. And then over here, Hunt makes they give you mullet wheel sets out of the box. So that's kind of cool. You can select mullet. This is the trail wide, so it's 30 millimeter internal width rim. Pretty lightweight. This is for both wheels combined. I can choose what driver I want. I'll probably go with the Shimano HG driver because I know that I want to single speed it, and I know that I want to experiment with these other drivetrains, and I just can't do that with XD or micro spline. So I'll probably select the old school driver. So that's kind of where I'm at as far as wheels and forks go. I still have to think about crank sets. I still have to think about dropper post, brakes, all that stuff. So this is where you get to help me out a little bit. So even though I told you pretty much what fork and wheel set I want, if you have any ideas out there, go ahead and post them in the comments. What should I do for a dropper post? What should I try for a crank set? All right, so speaking of crank set, I don't want to go super short. I know that's been this kind of thing. You only want to try super short crank sets like 165 millimeter or whatever if you have a wide selection of gears, especially like some super easy gears, because the idea behind a shorter crank, and I'll talk about this in a video sometime, you get a shorter crank, you can spin faster and spin better, and that's where you get your torque, is from that spinning. But if you're going to single speed something, or you like to ride in higher gears, or you're a power rider or something like that, or you like to stand and pedal and climb a lot, you don't really want shorter cranks. You want longer ones. So I'm thinking minimum 170, but I might even put 175s on this bike. And that's what I got on my low side. So it's what I like for single speed because I can stand up and get that torque. It's what I run on my BMX bikes. It just makes sense to me to run 175. So there you have it. That's going to be my winter project. It should be a lot of fun, and I will do videos as I decide to add parts to it, and together we can build this bike over the winter time. It might happen sooner than over the winter, but I'm not really going to get to ride it till the snow melts next year. So we're talking probably April or something. So it's not like I need to be in a big hurry on this one. Sweet. Let's go on to the next topic. So I really want to do a video on trail etiquette. If you watched one of my videos, I had this close call about a week ago where I came around the corner and these kids were running the opposite way down the trail. They are kids, right? And so you always have to be on your toes when you're on the trail. I've gotten some comments from people that I'm just shocked at what they say when it comes to this kind of thing. Like somebody said, I would have just run those little blips over. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Is that really your attitude when you're on the trail? So I'm really going to start doing some trail etiquette videos because I feel it's important that as mountain bikers and anybody that's out on the trail, whether you're a hiker, trail runner, mountain biker, even if you're into motorsports, right? Trail etiquette, being respectful of other users and other people, even when they're in the wrong, especially kids, it's important to just stay cool. And there's been a couple times, even this past summer, where I didn't stay very cool. There was a bunch of people on the trail up in Cuyuna, but it was the adaptive trail, right? Which is where my little switch should have flipped. And they had child carriers on their bikes, and they I believe one of them wasn't even really a mountain bike, and they were having issues with their kids, like misbehaving or something, but it was a couple of them, and they had the trail completely blocked, the trailer side by side. And I came riding up and hit the brakes. I was like, what in the world is going on here? And I kind of gave it to them, and I should have been a little more respectful. And I was like, why are you stopped right in the middle of the trail, blocking the trail? And the woman said something about having kids or whatever, and I don't remember the interaction, but as I was riding away, my hindsight was I should have been a little more nicer and respectful and maybe talked to them and gave them some guidance rather than kind of snapping at them. I didn't swear or get really angry or anything. I just was kind of a jerk, right? So I am guilty too. So it's important that we are a bit more respectful and responsible when we're out on the trail. It took a lot of effort to get these trails built. So I'm gonna have a new tab once I do my first video, which I don't know what it was. We're going into winter, so I'm probably gonna do a bunch of snow related ones and how to be, do proper trail etiquette in the wintertime, and then come spring I'll add the summer stuff or so on and so forth. But I'll just, create a new category and I'll talk about trail etiquette. I'll probably add some trail building or things and sustainability content in there too, because that's part of it. Is we want to tread lightly, we want to keep single track single, all that stuff. So that'll be a new category, and more video content for my channel. Sweet. Let's talk about the next subject. Okay, so there isn't snow on the ground yet. I'm looking at the forecast. It looks like it's going to start finally getting a little bit wintry here in Minnesota, but we typically don't get snow like sticking and staying until, after Thanksgiving. So I'm going to start talking a little bit about fat biking, winter biking, things like that. I'll talk about tire pressure. I'll talk about things like that, and kind of touching on the trail etiquette thing, when to ride, how to respect the trails, things like that. So winter biking, so I'm excited about it. I got a new fat bike to ride this winter. Got my trusty Bud and Lou tires. I love those tires. I don't even know if they make them anymore. I should probably go check this early website, because if they do, I should buy a spare set. But though I'll be winter biking here on my Salsa Mukluk that I have a little video of right here. So yeah, that's what's coming. It's what's going to be mostly on my channel. And again, as I've mentioned, I'm going to be doing some traveling and other types of riding. So fat biking is going to be my primary thing, but I'm going to try to get back to the BMX track. I took a hiatus from that due to the pandemic. There's an indoor skate park called Third Layer. I might go to that and do some of that kind of stuff. I am going to Ray's Thanksgiving weekend, so I'll have some video content on that, and so on and so forth. But aside from those things, it's mostly going to be all winter fat biking stuff or maintenance things and the bike build I mentioned earlier throughout the winter on my channel. So I kind of shift it for winter content and then go back to riding and summer content. So cool. Let's talk about the next topic. It's funny because when I was talking about fat biking, I almost mentioned this bit, but this leads right into, like, fat biking, winter biking leads right into this. What do I wear in the cold weather? Well, here is a short clip of what I wear in the cold weather. Okay, so what do I wear in the winter? Should I start from the top or the bottom? Let's start from the bottom. I wear these boots. I'm pretty excited I found these last year. They're Columbia. What I like about them is they have a very flattish, smooth bottom. Since I don't like to clip in, I run big pedals. I have these Shimano XT pedals, big aluminum platform pedals with teeth. This combo works so great, and these have like crazy warm insides. And so what I do is I'll wear these with a thin sock on warmer cold days. Doesn't that make sense? Warmer cold days. And then if I really need to, I wear these. I believe they are Smart Wool. Yep. Smart wool socks. I have a variety of thicknesses of these. I have some really heavy duty ones for if it's really, really cold and so on and so forth. But that's what I do for my feet and it works. I don't use any kind of foot warmer things because that combo keeps my feet plenty warm plus when I'm working hard, right? So then next what I do is I'll run, where are they at here? I just threw a big pile of stuff here, didn't even organize it. Okay, so I have these Craft Storm tights. I wear these underneath these. I have some 45 North really nice outer shell pants, right? These things are awesome. So these keep the moisture and the muck and crap, or if I fall, they keep me from getting wet. Stuff like that, and they have pockets, love pockets. Can put my wallet in there, my keys, stuff like that. So these, with these over the top, I can handle pretty much any temps. If it's warmer weather, say maybe in the upper 30s and the 40s, I have a thinner pair of tights I can wear, but I'll always have these on over the top. And then we start going mid-layer. So this is where the layering piece really comes in, is I always start with like a base, just typical summer jersey. The reason why is this is what's gonna get really wet, right? And so I start with that. Then I go with something like, I got two different options. This is I got a barking dog, probably because the FedEx person is right there and he wants to bark at the FedEx person. So this I will wear it. It's not super wintry. It's kind of that mid thing. You can kind of see through it. So I'll do that, this, and then I'll do my shell. But if it's colder, this shell is awesome. This is a Craft shell. Super warm, water resistant, things like that. Not cheap. So on and so forth. But if I need warmer layers, I put one of these on. This is actually made by Sport Hill, but this is like fuzzy inside. So I used to wear this when I was cross-country skiing a lot. So perfect if I need warmer. Then I go jersey, this and this, and it's surprising how I have a lot of movement. It's not super heavy, bulky, but I can get, you know, single digits, even below 0, and be perfectly warm with this setup. Then we've got gloves again. I've got thinner gloves for that kind of medium, not quite very cold. And then these are new this year. They even still have the packaging on them. I want to try these. These are the new 45 North Stern Fist gloves. But these are supposed to be super warm. Your pinky finger and ring finger stay together, and then your middle finger, we know what that's for, and then your index finger goes in there, and that allows you to do one finger breaking, which is me all day long, one finger breaking. Then, helmet. Notice there's a light mount on there. Well, it's almost always dark when I'm out winter riding. So this is a Giro brand, yeah, Giro helmet. It's like a snowboard / winter biking helmet. Super nice, covers the ears. This is all I need. And then it's got a little vent. It can be pretty freaking cold out. And then I do have a balaclava that I put on if it gets really cold. I don't have that here to show, but yeah. So what do I look like with all this stuff on? Well, let me show you. I'm going to do my trick here. Sam Pilgrim taught me this. Wow. That's pretty impressive. So that's what I look like in the wintertime. These 45 North pants, they go over my boot, if you can see that, which is nice. They have Velcro. I can kind of set that up to be perfect. Pockets here. I have my, right now I have my Epic jersey underneath. Super sweet. The Epic jersey has a hood, so the hood hangs out. Oh well. And the helmet. And I'm not going to be in the house too long with all this stuff on because I'm getting hot really quickly. The nice thing about this is when I'm out riding, if I need to take a layer off, I'll literally remove this shell, remove a base layer, and then put the shell back on. The reason you want to do that is you want to remove the wet layer, and then you can always reuse it later or remove it before it gets wet if you do that. But usually I start getting wet and sweaty and I'm like, I gotta remove a layer. So take this off, remove a base layer, whether that's the jersey underneath or this, put this back on, and then I'm a little bit cooler. So awesome. Okay, I want to talk about being safe on the trails. This one's really important to me. I'm pretty passionate about it. It kind of a little bit ties in with trail etiquette. I might even combine them in the same category, or I might have a separate one. I don't know yet. But what really matters to me is that you are safe on the trails and that you're not out riding beyond your limits and getting hurt. That's why I do riding tips, skills sessions. I teach people or whatever. And I just see a lot of people out there getting wrecked. And most of the time it's preventable. Yes, you are going to crash sometimes. I had a big crash this past summer coming down a hill in Cuyuna. I believe I didn't have as much pressure as I should have had in my shock. Kind of hit a little undulation and compressed, and my right pedal hit a rock and just sent me flying. It was just like bam, and I was on the ground laying in the woods going, what in the world just happened? And I ended up getting stitches on my arms, things like that. So you will crash. I'm a pretty experienced rider, but most crashes are preventable. And the reason why is because most of the people that I see crashing are crashing because they're trying to do something way beyond their abilities. Drops are a big one, and jumps are a big one. Skinnies are a big one. There's certain prerequisites, skills you should absolutely have before you try any of that. But I see a lot of riders, they just want to do that thing, and they don't want to build up to it or take the time to safely learn how to do it. Skinnies, if you're on a skinny and you don't know how to bunny hop off to the side or wheelie drop off to the side, or even know how to like bail off your bike, like if your front wheel drops, if you don't know how to like throw the handlebars down and leap over and land on your feet, you're in a lot of danger, because what can happen is you can be on the skinny and your front wheel slips off. If you just hang on to the bike and go over, the first thing that's going to hit the ground is your head. That's the last thing you want to hit the ground first. If your head hits after you've done a roll and you hit a side slam or something like that, it sucks. But if you have a helmet on, you can mostly prevent things. But if even with a helmet, if your first impact is your face or your head or whatever, that's when you're going to get the big bend, or you're going to get the impact down and you're going to cause a spinal injury, things like that. Flipping over the bars is the last thing you want in mountain biking. So I see these people riding skinnies and they don't have very good bike skills. Sure, the skill of riding a skinny is actually, if you just can keep in line and stay on it, great. But if you're up high off the ground and you don't know, like if you start to lose balance, how to get out of that situation safely, you're doomed. And I don't understand why people don't understand that. I don't understand why people don't understand that. That's kind of weird wording. Anyway, I really want you to baby step your way into these things. Drops is another one. If you can't like get a little weight back and lift your front wheel, or even if you don't put your weight back and you just kind of pull up your front wheel off a drop and aim for the landing, things like that. If you don't know how to do that, you don't have the bike control and confidence, and you can learn that skill off of a curb. You can learn it without anything. You can learn to pop your front wheel, but if you learn how to ride off a curb and you work on, here's the curb, right? Here's the edge of the curb, and you're going to ride off. Pull up your front wheel and learn how to ride off the curb so you can keep your front wheel up long enough for your back wheel, and you come down both wheels at the same time. Once you can accomplish that, once you can come off the curb and land both wheels at the same time rather than come off the curb and front to back wheel. You get both wheels at the same time or back wheel first or whatever. Then you can start doing drops. Like, super simple to just go out and learn how to do that in a safe environment before you go hit some drop or whatever. And then you learn that pitch control and things like that. So pitch control is learned by learning how to bunny hop and learning how to bunny hop properly, front to back wheel. This row, anti-row I always talk about. That's another skill you want to learn before you go taking it to jumps and hitting even a tabletop. If you're going fast and you hit a tabletop and you don't know how to like do the preload, pull the front end, push your legs in, do that row part, and then the anti-row in the air, if you just ride off and think that everything's going to be fine, it's not. Because as soon as you go off, the front wheel is going to want to go forward or down as you go off a lip, and your back wheel is still on. And then what happens is your front wheel dives and then your back wheel comes off and your back end gets bucked. And once it gets bucked, it sends you forward, and there you go, right over the bars. I see it all the time. And it's simply because people don't preload, they don't pull, push, they just ride off of it. Same with drops. You just ride off the drop and expect that it's going to work out. No. Gravity's going to take hold and just So safety, be safe, slow down, learn the baby steps, learn the basics of your bike skills. I've gone over it many times on my channel. I'll see if I can find one of my videos where I talk about the kind of preliminary basics everybody should know before you go mountain biking. And then link it down in the description if I can find it. I just don't remember, or I'll do a new video in the future sometime, right? But that's really what I wanted to talk about here, is just that safety, be safe, ride within your limits, don't try things, don't get peer pressured into trying things. You can get seriously hurt, like lifelong injuries, anything from just having something like a bad shoulder or a bad knee for the rest of your life, which is pretty minor. I mean, that was my situation because I injured my knee when I was 24 at a BMX race, and I had, this issue with my knee, ACL reconstruction. It was never quite the same. It wasn't until my knee replacement, which is, I'm coming up on 3 years now, I think, that my knee is like amazing right now. I love it. But, yeah, you can have, and then the worst case scenario, I guess is what I'm trying to get to, is like being paralyzed or losing access to a limb or something like that, right? Like, you just don't want that to happen to you. So you prevent it. Do your best to prevent it by not riding above your skill level. Cool. And I'll put that Van Yuka, I think it's Girl Van Yuka, something like that. I don't remember her channel, but I'll put her video in the description also, so you can check that out. She talks about some good points. Not being right in the head because she had just gotten in an argument with her husband. Not having somebody, not following somebody into this step up, because the step up, what ended up happening is she ended up way overshooting it. You can see something, and that's even worse than casing something. Casing can be bad, especially if you case with your weight forward and you go over. You can learn how to properly and safely case, right? Believe it or not, you can actually case things and get out of it safely if you know what you're doing. But she overshot, and so it was just like, and then there was a berm, and you watch her video, you'll see it. It's pretty wild. Her crash is pretty wild. And she talks about why she crashed, which is really important. So check that out. So I restarted the Monday night rides. Generally, they go from the fall all the way through winter until spring thaw, and then they stop. Kind of pointless to do them in the summertime because it's not nighttime, but they're Monday night rides at Theodore Worth. If you are local here or happen to be traveling through here on a Monday, definitely check them out. It's 6:30, meeting at the Theodore Worth. It's called a Trailhead building. So look that up. There's another bike shop called Trailhead, so don't get it confused with the bike shop. It's the Loppet Foundation's Trailhead building. There's a parking lot right across the street from that. It's right off of Theodore Worth Parkway. We meet in that parking lot across the street, not the parking lot where the building is, but across the street. Anyway, 6:30 every Monday night, if the conditions permit. I'm thinking next Monday night. They probably won't, because we're going to start getting some wetter, gnarly weather. But if it's too wet to ride and we don't have the snowfall or whatever, we don't ride. I actually have a Facebook group for this, and that's where I do my updates. So if I don't know who's on Facebook and who's not. So anyway, here's a quick clip from last night's ride, which is pretty cool. Sylvie riding the big rock there, right over the rock. Check out the clip. Sweet. So that's pretty cool. That's the kind of stuff we do. Get a group out there, ride with fun people. It's casual, all skill levels, things like that. And yes, Sylvie's got higher skill levels, but that doesn't mean you have to have those kind of skill levels. But you can watch people like we did there go over the rock and stuff like that. Cool. So Monday night rides, it's super fun. I love doing them. And if you are local and you ride mountain bike, you probably know about Theodore Worth. If you don't, you can always ask in the comments, and I can link info for you. Sweet. So there you have it. This is vlog episode 4. Covered some things. Pretty excited to get out on the snow this winter. I hope we have a good snow winter. Last winter we had a lot of warm weather, and then it got cold and warm, and then the trails get icy. This year I actually have a set of studded tires that I can try if I need to. I don't like riding studded tires. I don't like them. They don't have the compliance, the ride quality, they're heavy, whatever. But if it's like last year, I might throw studded tires on and just live with it. But yes, looking forward to winter and riding and getting up to Cuyuna and riding. Those Sagamore trails were open last winter. I have a video of riding them last winter before they opened in the summer. So pretty fun stuff. Cool. I really do appreciate your support for my channel. I am over 2,000 subscribers. That's awesome. Thanks for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. It also helps you out if you like my videos and my content, because then I'll come up in your feed. That's actually the purpose of the subscribe button. I know all us YouTubers are like, hit the subscribe button. Well, of course it makes our numbers look good, right? But it's actually for you, believe it or not. Like, I hit subscribe on all the channels I want to see in my feed, so I can see when they put up a new video, and then I'm like, oh, cool. You know, I mentioned Sam Pilgrim earlier. Oh, there's a new video by Sam Pilgrim. I watch every single one of his videos. Just boom, watch it. He's so fun to watch. And by the way, I've never met the guy or talked to the guy, so my comment earlier was just a kind of a joke, because he always does those things where he throws his hopper ramp on the ground and boom, or whatever and stuff. So, cool. So yes, subscribe, like. Appreciate your support. Peace.